Hi everyone, and welcome back to Neighbors to Know. It's been quite a while. I am Jenn Puhle, your host, and because the couch next to me is empty, I am also your guest today. My last episode of this show, which it wasn't really kind of an episode, but I was wearing my pajamas, and you saw what my bathroom looked like, and I was not dressed up by far. And my thumbnail is a picture of the drains that I had after surgery. And that's not really where I wanted to leave things off with all of you. So, I'd say it's, the new me, but that's not really true. It was just time to get back in the studio. And a lot has happened since the last time I was in the studio. The chairs are a little bit darker, the pillows are new, the backdrop is the same as it's been for the past 10 years, so that's still the same. So some things are tweaked. The last time, this is my journal, which ironically is pink a little bit on top. The last time I was in the studio interviewing somebody was February 10th of 2020. And as we all know, after February 2020 came March 2020. And all of a sudden was the COVID-19 pandemic. And then boom, doors were shut, couldn't come in the studio. Life looked very different. So what did I do? I went out and I bought myself a swanky new phone. Because at that point, the phone with the 3 little cameras on the back was the newest and greatest thing. I had ample storage. This is my journal that I keep for my guests. And then I started to work on a spin-off of my show called Neighbors to Know on the Go. And I was working on an intro. We were just finishing things up. And I started having some weird health issues going on. Because it's weird, even as I'm looking back at my notes and things, that it says, I did a live episode with David Scott through Facebook Live and during the pandemic, so it was virtual. And I remember I had brain fog quite a bit. And I knew David well enough that if I forgot what I was talking about, that he could just pick up. And now that I watched that episode, it was around Valentine's Day of 2020, or maybe it was 2021. I don't even remember. It's all a blur. I feel like for everyone this is all a blur. But anyway, I had brain fog. I later had a kidney stone that was what? I was in the best shape of my life. 2019, I was traveling. I was doing Neighbors to Know on the West Coast. I was interviewing people from all over the place. I had viewers in India, and and it was all over. And I'm look how far Neighbors to Know is growing. And then life took a spin. I had a kidney stone, and I'm what is that all about? Okay, I don't drink enough water. That wasn't all that it was about. I had my dentist called in January and said I had 6 cavities and needed a root canal. And I was what? By the way, these are fake. More fake news to come. Not that kind of fake news. Oh boy. There were several weird things that were going on health-wise. And then as things were opening up, when, later on in the pandemic, people started going back for doctor's appointments and things. And that's what I did too. I had a list of things that I needed to, doctor's appointments and things to do. And one of those was, I was one of those women that get the letters in the mail when you go to your gynecologist and have a mammogram done. And I would always get a letter in the mail that said, your breasts are dense and mammograms might not be the best thing to do for scanning. So you might want to get some other scanning. And I'm okay, file it in the Gen Health folder, whatever. It was never really brought up as a thing. My mother had gotten breast cancer. She was in her 70s. And when people are older and get cancer, it's kind of in a different category. It's not a huge red flag for me. But she said, you're getting the letters. Your mom now has breast cancer. She was stage 0. She's fine. So she's let's go get an MRI. I'm okay, never had an MRI before. All right, let's go ahead and do this. And I paused on it because they have to use contrast dye for MRIs, well, at least for that MRI. And I had a CT scan, bizarrely, because I'm at Bedford TV right now. I had a CT scan, I don't even remember the year. I feel like it was 2017. If you look on the Bedford TV Awards in 2017 and I look really bloated, it was because I had had a CT scan that day and had an anaphylactic reaction to the contrast dye, and they flushed me with saline. I couldn't even get into the dress I was supposed to wear for the BTV Awards. Actually, who got me into that dress, oddly enough, is Ann Siemens. Ann was my first neighbor to know on the show, and Ann sadly passed from pancreatic cancer during the pandemic. They only gave her 3 months, and she fought for a year. Whew, I have tissues. I don't plan on using them. But my point is, I was leery on having an MRI because of the contrast dye. So I waited a little bit to do my research and have them do their research, because I'm like, I'm not having this happen again, because even with medication, I had a reaction. So fast forward, I went for the MRI in July of last year, and it was an interesting experience. If you've never had a breast MRI before, you lay on the machine like you're Superman with your arms up like this. It's very humbling. So I had it done and went home, ate dinner, like not a big deal, whatever. And then 7:30 in the morning, I look at my phone and it says Newton. I hate when my phone says Newton, because 99 times out of 100, it's Newton Wellesley Hospital and something's up. Now, so I got a call 7:30 in the morning, and they said they found a few things on the MRI. They want me to come in for more testing. And I'm like, all right, like I'm always at 1%, and I didn't think anything of it. Like I was healthy as a horse, I had these weird things happen, but I'm like, I probably just didn't drink enough water. That's why I had the kidney stone. And maybe it's the pandemic of maybe I'm eating too much sugar and that's why I got the cavities. I didn't know what was going on. So I went in for more testing, and they said they found 3 spots and they wanted to do a biopsy. So I said, how long should I be taking off? Like, should I just be taking a half day of work? And they're like, no, plan on eating lunch here. I'm like, okay. So I was there from 8 a.m. till about 3 p.m. I did eat lunch there. And they did a mammogram. And they did an ultrasound. The mammogram, I knew something was wrong because they went into a room where I could hear them. And the science behind it is interesting, but they're wowed because you can literally see cancer cells dividing very fast on a slide from tissue you pull from a mammogram when you're having a biopsy. So of course I can't see it. They're all staring at it. And still I'm just like, whatever, I don't know what the heck they're doing. But it was the ultrasound. I'd had ultrasounds before. Oh, I have 2 kids, clearly. And did the ultrasounds, and I watched on the screen. I didn't know what I was looking at. I'm a math person. I don't know science. And I saw a lot of these black round things with these white dots in the middle. And I'm like, apparently there's something. But my mom used to have cysts, and they have liquid or fluid removed from them. I'm like, oh, that's probably what it is. It's just like a cyst, and they're going to have to stick a needle in and drain it, and I'll just be on my way. So I thought that's all that it was. And then at 3 o'clock or whatever, when the day was ending, they told me to get dressed. There were 3 nurses in the room. One of them left. The other one was like, I don't know what she was doing, but she was standing to my left, and she said, I asked her, I said, I know you probably can't tell me anything because you don't know anything yet, but, do you see anything? Like, should I be alarmed? Whatever. And I'm assuming she's going to say no because, they're not my doctor that ordered the test, so usually they can't say anything until you meet with your doctor. And she looked me square in the eye and she told me, you're not going to die from this. And I'm like, huh? What do you mean? Die from what? She said it's the 21st century. And then blah, 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 blah. I don't even know what she said after that. And then she left. And then they left, and they all left. Like she drops this and they all leave. And I'm like, I'm just like staring. And then a blonde nurse came back in and asked me if I needed help getting dressed. And she was just very nurturing with me, but she couldn't really say anything. And she said they'll have the results in 2 or 3 days. It was a Thursday, and she said, it might not be until Monday. But it was Thursday. I went home, and Friday at 5 p.m., I got a phone call from Newton. And I don't even remember all the words. It was a very, lots of words, fast conversation, get the ball rolling. And she said, those 3 masses, one was malignant, some other words, the other one was malignant, some other words, and my left one was benign. No one actually said to me, Jenn, you have breast cancer. They just throw these words at you. And you're expected to, I know what malignant means, but it's what does that really mean for me? And I wasn't alone when I got the phone call. A friend of mine happened to stop by, and she's like, should I leave? And I'm like, no, please stay. And it happened so fast where they told me that, and then they said, we're going to hang up the phone with you now, and we're going to have oncology call. And I'm like, I don't want oncology to call. I don't want to have an oncologist. I know what an oncologist is. I don't want one. And that's when this little snowball started and went boom after that. I'm not going to focus on the nitty-gritty of all of what had happened, but the long story, or the short story, is I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I had stage 1A breast cancer. And then my life just kind of halted, and everything was just about me. Maybe it was some bizarre lesson that it was time to slow life down instead of traveling everywhere and trying to do all these different things, and just slow down, Jenn, because stuff's getting real right now and you need to take care of you. So I picked up my phone that I was supposed to use. It was that night, that Friday, when I got the phone call. I didn't want to forget what they said. So I picked up my phone, I held it up. My arm hurt a little bit at the time, which is a funny story later. Well, not really funny, but held up my phone, hit record, started videoing myself. And basically it was for me to chronicle what was happening with me, so I wouldn't forget, because it was just a lot of information, and I'm like, I don't know what they're saying to me. I have a lot to Google, but though you shouldn't really Google anything. Now I have, I think, 170 of those videos on YouTube. And they're not up on Bedford TV, because they're very, I don't prep for them. I just hit record. And I originally started it just for me. And then when I told my kids what was going on, I said, I feel like I need to make this public because I need help, and because I have so many questions, and I think I'm a pretty educated person. So if I have all these questions, I'm sure there are other people out there that have questions too. And it wasn't all about giving back, because truly it was mostly about helping me. But I decided to create a YouTube page and put the vlogs up there. So the name is not something easily findable. My breast cancer, one of them was invasive ductal carcinoma. Invasive because it spreads outside of your milk ducts. Carcinoma is like the C word in fancy terms. So when they told me invasive ductal carcinoma, it's a lot of words, I'm like, invasive ductal carcinoma what? So that's the name of the YouTube page. Invasive ductal carcinoma what? And I'll put a thing up at the end if you want to take a look. But I have those vlogs up there. I tell you right now that, I curse on them. They're very real. Sometimes I'm happy, lots of times I'm crying. It's just, this is the daily thing of what my life looks like. And I've been moving away from it lately because I've done 160 some of them. And that happened to me. And I had a double mastectomy. And yeah, these aren't real either. Oh, that's funny. I turned 50 last year, so I got new teeth and new boobs. Ugh. It's just crazy. And I'm here. I'm here And how am I doing? I'm doing way better than I was. Clearly I'm here. It's time to switch gears. I had breast cancer. Granted, 1 in 5 or 6 women get breast cancer now. It's not something to, people joke about like menopause and all this other stuff. Like, it is so nothing to joke about. I did not need chemo or radiation, but I am on a little cocktail of medications. And tomorrow, actually today's my birthday. Happy birthday to me. So I'm not 50 anymore. Crap, I'm 51. But that's okay. I purposely wanted to come on because today's my birthday. And I'm like stepping into something new. I thought 50 would be like, woohoo! Turning 50 was not woohoo for me. Turning 50 came with like, I'm healing from breast cancer surgery. Like, what? That's not what I wanted. So, so I'm on a cocktail of treatments. Tomorrow, every 4 weeks in a day, I get a shot in my arm that suppresses my ovaries, so my ovaries stop working. That will help in the kind of cancer that I had. My cancer was estrogen and progesterone positive. And then I'm on medication and other things. So I have gained 30 pounds. Oh, I did gain 30 pounds. I've lost 6. Hurrah. I've lost 6 and I work very hard. But the medication is what it is. Certain medications for breast cancer, you're on for like 10 years. I was pushed into menopause in 2 days. It's a lot on your body. So I do want to switch gears though, because there are take-homes from all of this. The take-homes for me are to be patient with myself as I evolve. I always made kindness rocks for my guests, and this one was someone that I believe Angela Carpenter made for me. She made she was one of my guests on Neighbors to Know about painting kindness rocks. And she gave me a box of kindness rocks when I was going through everything. And to be patient with yourself is so important, especially at this time right now as we're at the holidays and everyone's rush, trying to get 18,000 things done. I can't rush anymore. My body is telling me what my schedule is. My body tells me what my hair is going to look like today and what clothes I'm going to be wearing today. Because yes, I'm on medication and my body feels like it's 80,000 degrees. These lights aren't helping, but I'm not sweating just yet. So I can't just wear what I want to wear. My shirts are often not symmetrical. I have a mic on, obviously, but my shirts often shift. I need to go in for another surgery to have some tweaks done. Nothing's wrong, but just to have some tweaks done. But why I'm back here this past weekend, well, first of all, the Bedford TV Awards, the 2022 ones were just on Friday. And hearing Ann's name pop up, it's funny about the MRI story, because I forgot about that until just now. But hearing Ann's name pop up, there's an award called Volunteer of the Year award that's named after Ann. And the young man that won that award, I'm thinking, I don't even know if he knows who Ann really is. We put a little blurb about who she is. But I went back and I watched the first episode of Neighbors to Know. I tried so hard to look perfect. And I wanted to have all these things said and make everything all perfect. There is no perfect. Like, you just have to be so forgiving with yourself. And Ann was just a comfortable person to talk to. And I remembered why I started doing Neighbors to Know in the first place. I wanted to connect people. I started off with people in Bedford. My last guest was Dave Geller, who is now doing a podcast with Dan Broskell at Bedford TV. And there's just so many amazing people in there that are doing good in this world, and especially since the whole pandemic thing happened. I am not going to get into politics. I think I talked a little bit about that on my vlog. I did write an article for The Citizen about political humanity. Seems like an oxymoron. But I want to highlight the good. During the pandemic, John Krasinski did a segment called Some Good News, SGN. Oh, look at that, my phone. My son is FaceTiming me from my birthday, but I'm going to have to not talk to him right now because I'm talking to you. So I did talk to him this morning. I'm not ignoring him. And the Some Good News aired for a little while, and then it stopped. And I'm like, I don't want that to stop. There's too much negativity. There was so much negativity with people in differing opinions when it came to world politics, when it came to the pandemic, when it came to masking, not masking, sending your kid to school, sending your kid, having your kid do virtual school. There were so many judgments on people about what they were doing and every decision, and people just got so angry about things, and that's not the kind of world that I want to see. My son loves me so much that now he's actually regular calling me, and I feel bad, but he's going to have to wait. I love you, Max. This past weekend, I meditate with a friend of mine, and she was in the mood for cotton candy, and she wanted to make a lot of cotton candy, and she wanted to give it away to the people that were in Bedford. And she said, I want to help an organization too. And she ended up having a little cotton candy station right out here in town center. And she raised almost $1,000 for the Bedford Food Pantry with her cotton candy idea. That's the kind of thing that I want to highlight. Her name, by the way, is Christy Connolly. So it's that kind of goodness that I want, that's out there, that I want to still showcase. What I ask from you all is that I'm still going through stuff. I'm still on medication. I will be for a while. And I know that my body tells me, first and foremost, what my life is going to be looking like. I have to respect my body. I have to respect my health. That's the number one thing. So as I'm keeping this mission of Neighbors to Know alive, to showcase people that are doing phenomenal things that don't have to win awards, they don't have to put their name out. It could just be like, oh, by the way, there's a woman out there who wants cotton candy, and all of a sudden she just gave $1,000 to the food pantry. Like, that's a great thing to do. And the philanthropy aspect of all of it, that's what I would like to share. I would like that to be more of what we see when we look at TV and when we look at social media and when we have conversations with each other. Even with the pandemic, regardless of my health anything, I feel like so many people with the pandemic almost forgot how to have conversations with each other because we were holed up in our homes for so long and everyone became two-dimensional. And then when people started socializing again, it was almost this common aspect of, I don't know how to talk to people anymore. But none of us did, so it was okay. And a huge thing that I've learned from this whole drama is, like, it's okay. It doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just need to do you. You just need to speak what's on your mind. Having a diagnosis like this, one of the first things people ask you when you get cancer is, what stage are you? Just FYI, you don't find that out for a while. I was diagnosed on July 9th. I had my double mastectomy on August 20th, so it wasn't that far after. They were really quick about moving things, which kind of made me scared. This is a perfect example of like, wait, what was I just saying? This is why I like to have guests on there like, here, Jen, here's what you were just talking about. Crap, I was hoping that wouldn't happen while I was on camera. But like this, this is a perfect example of like, this is what happens. I'm not the only human being that gets this brain fog thing. It happens as you get older, with the pandemic, like I was saying, people don't necessarily know how to talk to each other. And that weirdly brings people together. Unfortunately, I've seen more people that have become separated. The staging, I know it always comes back. One of the first things that people ask you is what stage you are. And after my mastectomy, you don't find out what stage you are until after they do all the pathology and stuff on the stuff that they removed. So I didn't know what stage I was until much later. And then like you wonder, like, did they get it all? Like, what's going on? And in that time, I mean, I don't know. I could have been stage 0. I knew I wasn't stage 0 because my tumor was pretty big. The main tumor the largest one was pretty big. But I didn't know. I didn't know if I had stage 0. I didn't know if I had stage 4. I didn't know if it was all over me. I don't know. You start looking at every little like part of you, all my freckles, and I'm like, do I have it everywhere? I don't know, and it's scary. but it also gives you this weird, like, get out of jail free card. I didn't do anything illegal. And the way that you realize how precious life is and how short life is and how one thing can happen and then all of a sudden, like, your whole world is totally different. So when I asked for help, like, I didn't care how I came across to other people because I just needed food. I needed my laundry done. And after a mastectomy, like, this is what you can do with your arms. That's it. Like, you can't lift things. It's a whole, it's very limiting. But you start to have like this card where it's like, I could just say what's on my mind. And I feel like that's how you truly find out who your people are. And I've found so many new friends, or maybe not necessarily new friends, I should say, people I knew before that really stepped up to help me in ways that I just never thought that they would. And just so kind and not wanting anything back for anything. For the longest time, I thought that, speaking of the food pantry, I thought the food pantry gave people flowers when they sent when you go to pick up food. So for a while, people were picking up, I couldn't go grocery shopping. I wasn't driving for a while, and people would stop by the food pantry and drop off food for me, and I would get these nice little plants, and I'm like, well, that's such a sweet thing they do. I wonder where they get the plants from. It turns out it's not them. John Gibbons was the one who was giving me the plants, but I didn't know, and it's that kind of thing that is just so amazing because he's not there saying, oh, by the way, I went out and got you flowers too. He just did it. And that's what Neighbors to Know is about. People are just doing kind things. So the patience that I ask for you to be patient with the concept of the show as it evolves, what I can do right now is put things on social media, which I have been. Neighbors to Know is on Instagram. Instagram has limits to what it can do with videos, but what I do on Instagram are my 60 seconds of Zen. And basically, if I'm walking someplace or I just come across something and I'm like, well, that's really calming. You know, I'll take my time to just chill and meditate there. And then I want to share that too. So I'll just hit record and let it run the 60 seconds that Instagram allows you to use and share that for people to look at. Because there is so much stress in this world. And if I can just have everyone like take a look there and just like shut off and just watch the water go by. Or what, it's usually water related, but the 60 seconds of Zen is helpful for me and is a way that I can give back to bring some calm and serenity to other people. Facebook is a little bit different. I mostly just put still pictures on there and stuff, but they do allow you to put videos on and they're not restricted to a minute. So for example, on Sunday when Christy was out doing the cotton candy thing, I didn't formally have her come in here to do a show. Can I at some point? Sure. Right then, I picked up my phone and I just started videotaping and I put it up on Facebook. And then along comes Bob Dowd, who is another incredible neighbor to know in Bedford. And are these people like on my list of people to have come in here? Absolutely. Will I get there? Absolutely. Will it happen tomorrow? No. Tomorrow I'm going for my injection. But regardless, it's not going to happen tomorrow. So my point of coming in today here, partly was stepping into, I hate the new normal phrase, but it's just the new. It's what it is now. And the studio is different. The person who's running stuff behind there is different than who was here before. Change is not a bad thing. I know there are people out there that are saying, oh, I had cancer and it made me learn like X, Y, and Z to make me into this great old person. I'm not going to say cancer's a gift because it stinks. It's awful. I will not say that. Has it taught me a lot? Yes. But there's other things like that happen in this world that can teach you a lot too. Yeah. So if you want to see me without makeup, with my hair not done up, no earrings and whatever, you can take a look at those vlogs. I find them to be, I've had great feedback from other people that are going through the breast cancer journey, and for people that are supporting people going through the journey, because it's a lot to navigate around on both ends. But that vlog, again, I'll put a slate up when we're finished here, and you could take a look there. And then on Instagram and Facebook, again, I don't really go on Twitter much, too much drama with Twitter, I feel like, anyway, but that's what I can do right now. And then I do have 3 shows that were in the works. I did do an interview for Neighbors to Know on the go, but it never got finished because I was too busy focusing on myself. And that's not a selfish thing, it's a taking care of self thing. Yeah. So I'm here. You know, things look somewhat different. My hair looks pretty much the same. It's beeping. I wonder if anyone else can hear that. There we go. Some things are different, but they're not too different. I am actually wearing these pants. I walked in a Runway for Recovery show, which is a breast cancer fundraiser. It's an amazing organization. And that's where I got these pants from. And they're elastic and they look nice. They are a larger size than I normally would wear, but I like them and they make me feel pretty. The asymmetry of my shirt, I don't even know what my exes look like right now. Whatever, it is what it is. I could do the best that I can. But these boots, these boots were not made for walking. I got these boots in 2015, I think. And these are like, I feel like I'm like super powerful in these boots. Apparently, I didn't realize the heel was so high on them. But when I went to put them on this morning, I was like, ooh, they're tight, because one of the meds that I'm on helps me with the side effects from another med that I'm on, and it makes my feet and my ankles swell. So hello, compression socks, you know, how attractive is that? But they're very practical. But then when I went to put these on, and I'm like, oh, they're a little bit tight, but that's why God invented shoelaces. So I loosened them up, and I got them up, and it looks a little bit different than how I wore it in 2015, but you know what? They still look pretty cool. So things happen, life changes, we adjust, and we're patient with ourselves. So I will be back soon with someone on that couch to talk to, and I thank you for continuing to watch, and I just want to leave you with remembering that we are all humans out here. We're all going through things. Be kind to one another. Be patient with yourself, be kind to yourself, love yourself, and love each other. Till next time, everyone. Bye-bye.